Inconceivable.
And welcome to the Mind Your Movies podcast. I'm Ryan.
I'm Shane.
And today we have a special half episode here on a wedding episode. We're going to be talking about The Princess Bride. This is because I'm getting married.
Yeah. This was kind of your pick. We were looking for wedding related movies of some sort, and we went for this one. And yeah, this will we're recording this a little bit early because Ryan will be off on his wedding and his honeymoon and all that fun stuff. So yeah, we recorded this a couple weeks back. So if anything crazy happens in the next couple weeks that and we don't address it, then that's why.
Yes. But yeah, going through, it's funny to try to pick a wedding movie to talk about because mostly you're left with rom-coms or things like Wedding Crashers, maybe, right? Um, and I wasn't really feeling too attached to anything like that. The closest I got to was like the 1950 Father of the Bride, because I've watched the other two kind of recently, so I was like, that could be interesting. But I don't know. I wasn't feeling too attached to it, and I know that the 1991 version of that movie is supposed to be, I think, the the best version of it. So
Hmm.
uh I don't know. I was like, I don't really want to watch it right now. So
Yeah.
all this research to try to find a good wedding movie, and this came up, and I was like, you know what? I saw this back, a long time ago, and I was like, I remember having a pretty good time. And there's so many quotes from this movie that have lived on in the zeitgeist, especially as we were growing up, that I thought this could be a cool one to revisit. But it has been a long time since I or Shane have seen it, so it was
Y-
interesting to dive back into.
Yes. Yeah. I hadn't seen this, and I never saw it growing up. It was not really like part of my childhood, so I don't have like the nostalgia for it or anything. But I saw it at one point, probably about 10 years ago. And yeah, honestly, I don't know that my thoughts changed that much over time. But it was interesting. I've completely forgot about the like book ending, and we're cutting back to the 80s with a kid listening to the story, and his grandfather is Peter Falk reading it to him. I completely forgot about that being in the movie.
Yeah, well, that is a good place to start, I suppose.
Yeah.
What are the
And also, spoiler warning, if anyone has not seen The Princess Bride, we're going to talk full spoilers. So,
Yeah, good call. By the way, I guess we should mention this is 1987. This is Rob Reiner. So maybe a good tribute. We never did like a Rob Reiner tribute as he passed away last year, but this, I
yeah.
guess, this kind of works for that. This is certainly a pretty well-known movie, um, and it's adapted from a novel. I have no idea. I've never read the novel. No idea how close it is or whatever. I don't know if the whole book ending thing is in the novel. I assume that's a film thing.
Yeah, I also assume that, but it looks like it's the screenplay is written by the novelist. So, I don't know but I imagine, yeah, that the little 80s thing is a movie edition.
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, William Goldman is the writer.
yeah, and this has been, I think pretty acclaimed. It's on all sorts of lists for like uh top funniest movies, the AFI's 100 years 100 uh I guess passions list, not 100 years 100 laughs, I suppose. But and it's on a bunch of comedy lists and stuff like that. So it is pretty well acclaimed. It's been now almost 40 years since it came out. So actually, I guess next year will be its 40th anniversary, which is kind of cool.
Yeah. And yeah, it kind of is a rom-com. It's kind of a fantasy rom-com. So yeah, it's The Princess Bride. I don't know. I don't want to be Debbie Downer, but I kind of watched it and I was kind of like, I don't know. Like, I just don't have any nostalgia for the movie. So then I watch it and I'm like, oh well, I know that line from it being quoted in things or people saying it or whatever, but I don't know. I laughed a few times. It was an all right time, but it's not like a personal like favorite or classic for me.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny because I do remember watching it a long time ago, but I don't really remember. I kind of just remember that I thought it was like fine. I thought it was funny. I remember laughing a little bit.
Hmm.
Obviously some of the quotes stuck out. Um, but watching it this time, I think I had a better appreciation of just like the sets and the landscapes and stuff. Was probably my biggest thing, like that, and just the sense of time. I think it really was pretty compelling, the aesthetics of everything and all that stuff, and so I really liked just feeling like we were there. It felt pretty engulfing.
I get that, and but I feel like the starting with the kid, and then we're cutting
Yeah,
back, and there's a few times where they're kind of undercutting moments by cutting back to the kid. Felt kind of completely unnecessary, and kind of felt like it was the '80s. This is a studio movie, and they were kind of like, it's called The Princess Bride. Like, we're, 12-year-old boys are not going to like this unless we put a 12-year-old boy in here to talk about how the kissing is gross. Like, I kind of feel like you could have just, and Peter Falk is a great actor. I really like Peter Falk, but I mean, he doesn't have that much to do here. He's good, but that whole part of the movie just honestly could have been cut out, and I think it probably would have we wouldn't be missing anything. It probably would actually make the movie better.
yeah, I agree. I mean, there's one particular moment when they cut back to the kid and they cut back to the thing, but they're a few minutes behind, or like they're
Yeah,
repeating
in
something.
in the boat with the eels or whatever, and yeah,
Yeah. And the kid's like, we already did this. And it's like, dude, all right. Like, yeah, I agree that that whole thing probably was just unnecessary, and didn't feel compelling. It didn't feel very interesting. And yeah, like, I mean, Peter Falk is cool, but like here, I don't know, he doesn't do much. Like, it,
no,
it
no, I
didn't
mean,
feel
yeah,
very good.
no, no, he's just, yeah, yeah, it is what it is. I don't know. So yeah, it kind of took me out of, like, I wasn't as engrossed in the story for the most part.
Yeah, that definitely makes sense. I
And
think, yeah, I think I don't know. I guess the moments that we were actually in the story, I did quite like, but I do agree that the kid stuff was pretty just non non interesting and
hmm,
unimportant. But
yeah, and then the romance is definitely like the big, uh, I don't know, the big thing in the movie, I feel like. And I think it's okay. I don't know. It just didn't just honestly the whole movie just felt okay to me. Nothing really like hit home, or I didn't really care about the characters very much. I don't know. I cared probably about Inigo Montoya more than I cared about Wesley or the Buttercup, the titular Princess Bride.
yeah, I mean, Enoyo Monteiro was like awesome. I
Yeah.
did not say his name right, but
That's okay. That's okay.
but yeah, he's awesome. He's
Yeah.
his story of revenge and just trying to get the guy that killed his father and how that all comes together. And of course, like culminating in the pretty awesome showdown with him and the guy that he's been looking for this whole time. I thought was pretty fun.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it was fine. It wasn't like that awesome, but I there was so much fire in that scene. There's about approximately 8,000 candles in that room, and then there's a big fire in the middle of the room, and I was like, I feel like this whole place is going to go up in flames, but then it just never did. And I guess that's just there would just be that many candles on because there were no lights because there's no electricity. But it was almost like there was it was literally in the middle of the room, just like a campfire in the middle of this like room in a castle. And I was like, I feel like, but it's a stone castle. But anyway, I thought there was going to be a big fire.
Interesting. I don't, I just straight up didn't notice that, I guess. But
Yeah.
yeah, that's funny.
Not actually 8,000 candles. I was trying to go for a high enough number that it was a little, what do you call it? Hyperbole.
Yeah, 8,000 is a good number.
But I
So
mean, there genuinely were, there had to be over 100 candles in that one room, all lit, all on fire.
that's yeah. I did not. I that's crazy. I did not notice that. The things you notice, I guess, when you're not as engrossed by it, perhaps.
Yeah, maybe. And maybe, I don't know if part of it is that I've seen it before or that I mean, it's kind of like in the text that it's like like standard fantasy story. So it's like nothing really that unexpected happened. I guess like, I don't know, the stuff with Vizzini and is like somewhat there are unexpected things that happen, I guess. But you kind of know where the story's going. Like it's not gonna, there's not gonna be some crazy the bad guys aren't gonna win at the end, which they do comment on, I guess, with the kid again. But uh but yeah, so I wasn't exactly engrossed in the drama of it all.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, I definitely did not expect them to suck 50 years out of the guy's life. Uh, the
Wait, what?
machine that
Uh,
sucks years out of your life.
oh, the like they're like
Yeah.
torturing Wesley. Is that what they say
Yeah,
happens or whatever?
they have a dial in it, and it's supposed to suck that many years off the end of your life. So, and then he just flips it up to 50 and just kills him. Uh,
Okay, gotcha. And
that
then
was
that was
wild.
and then they have to do the magic with Billy Crystal and
Yeah.
the magic, and then yeah.
Yeah. So I would say there was enough like twists and turns for me to be like intrigued by the journey. But yeah, I mean the outcome obviously, you know, yeah, you know what's gonna happen. But also it was cool that these two characters that at the beginning were like the bad guys, right?
Hmm.
Uh
Yeah.
Turned out, ended up at the end of the movie to be on the good side. They were in it for I guess for revenge and stuff, but they were there helping at the end. And then there's also the funny remark of like, you make a good Dread Pirate Roberts or whatever, So maybe in
Right.
a way, Dread Pirate Roberts, who is maybe a bad guy, does win.
I see. Yeah, I guess. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just didn't care about the like Wesley, the like paper thin character. I'm like, I truly don't care about this guy at all, or like I just didn't really care. So, it is what it is. At the beginning, like the romance of it all, like it's just kind of was weird to me. I didn't feel the romance, but I don't know if that might just be a personal issue. Clearly, a lot of people care. They think it's a really romantic movie and stuff. So maybe that's just my personal like preference. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it is funny because I also don't know if I would really call this like the most romantic movie. I
Mm.
mostly like this for like the fantasy aspects and kind of this like bizarre world that they build where it's like it is this like how much magic and stuff is there really in this world and
Mm.
like
Well, like there's the rats in the
yeah,
forest, stuff like that. Yeah.
giant rats, the magic thing that brings him back to life, the miracle candy thing, whatever.
Yeah.
Um and stuff. And then there's just all sorts of like weird little like I don't know, the world feels like almost more speculative than like full fantasy. And I think it's kind of neat to see a world that doesn't lean fully in on the fantasy. It's not like a Lord of the Rings fantasy, but
Mhm.
it's definitely not like a real medieval world.
Right. Yeah, it's kind of in between those two. Yeah.
Yeah. So I thought it was pretty cool to see some of those unique things. But
Yeah. Yeah, I get that. Um, Definitely a lot. What happened there? Dropped something?
yeah, I dropped my coaster.
Oh, geez, dropped the coaster.
Oh man.
Jeez. I don't know. I was trying to think of something funny to say, but I didn't have it. I didn't have any coaster jokes ready.
Inconceivable.
Yeah, there you go. Great. That is inconceivable. Yeah, I mean, Wallace Shawn is good in it, a very uh kind of playing, I don't know, like being cast against type where like you normally think of the villain who's kidnapping the princess to kill her as being a little bit more imposing, and he's just the small, he's the brains of the operation, and that's why he has the like skill and the brawn with him. But yeah, I mean, definitely I feel like he has a lot of the best lines and the ones that like stick with people and stuff like that.
Yeah, and that whole scene when they're like swapping the goblets and stuff, I feel
Right.
like I don't know if that's really the first time, I guess, that something like that has been done, but it's definitely been redone throughout, in
Mm.
TV shows and all sorts of stuff where like as a sign of intelligence, you assume that the person's going to swap your drink, so you blah 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 blah, right? Um, and I think that's definitely lived on as well. But yeah, I feel like his character, even though he's not in a huge amount of the movie, is sort of one of like the faces of the movie because he's so iconic.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I think I think him, Inigo Montoya and Andre the Giant are kind of more memorable than the main characters of like Robin Wright and Carrie Elways, their characters. Uh, yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's just because of the look, or they have a lot of the better lines. But they kind of stick out more than the main characters of the story.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I agree with that, and I feel like that's why I like this more as like a fantasy adventure story than like
Hmm.
a romance. Because yeah, I agree that like the two main characters, I don't really care about their romance so much, but I do find the revenge story that's in here I find pretty fun, and like just taking down this uh scumbag king, right? And I find that whole thing, especially when they're like when they're infiltrating the castle and stuff, I find all that stuff really interesting. But yeah, the moments when it's just like the two of them, like there's I mean, there's plenty of moments where it's just the two of them, and it's supposed to be like, oh, blah blah blah. I don't know, it's fine, but
Yeah,
I
yeah,
feel like this is. I feel like here's the thing. It's like this is an interesting movie where it does try to be like cross genre, where it has like the fantasy speculative elements and also the rom com elements. But I feel like it for me, it just does a lot better at that first part. And I feel like if I wanted to watch a rom com, I'd just probably watch a rom com. You know?
yeah, yeah. I get that. I think actually, I mean, I guess this comes out in a few weeks, but the biggest movie in the world right now is The Odyssey, and this felt like it had some similarities to The Odyssey, just in the way that they have to traverse these different monsters and different terrains, and there's all these different impediments on their sort of somewhat epic journey. So yeah, it kind of felt similarities to the Odyssey there, but just kind of a silly version, I guess.
Yeah, I feel like I also noticed that while watching, and I was like, this is definitely partly because I just watched the Odyssey, and also partly, it is this kind of not quite as epic, but this journey that has all these many different pieces and steps. Right, they're going through the the forest that they have a special name for, and
Yeah.
they get through the eels that they call something funny, and all this stuff, and it's like, yeah, there's some fun what do you call them, trials that they have to get through.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And I guess in that way, like the Odyssey is kind of a like originating text for a lot of like adventure stories, basically. Like kind of any big adventure, you're kind of gonna be somewhat influenced by the Odyssey, probably, even just not even intentionally influenced.
Yeah, when you have a text that's 3,000 years old, like the first of its kind. Yeah, right. In a way, it kind of spawns all else, right? It's like, I guess between that and like, um, I haven't read or I don't know too much about the Iliad, but I know it's supposed to be about the siege of Troy. Do you think that's like the original war story?
Maybe, maybe, I guess potentially. Maybe the first prequel, maybe depending
Well,
on
yeah, I think it came out first. I think I think they wrote it first.
I don't know. I thought it was like, I mean, I could be wrong. I thought it was like the Odyssey came out and then they were like, let's expand on this War of Troy stuff. But that could be wrong. I really don't know.
I don't really know either. I thought that it was both of them were stories that were just told for many many
Yeah.
years and stuff. And then I thought that the Iliad was
I guess it
scribed
is
before, but
normally you say like the Iliad and the Odyssey. So in that way, it makes it seem like the Iliad comes first. But maybe that's George Lucas. Episode one came out after episode four, which so I don't know.
it's
Was
possible.
Homer the original George Lucas?
Well,
Like,
was Homer even a person?
all right. Was George Lucas ever a person? Now we're getting crazy.
Anyways, back to the
George,
Princess
George
Bride.
Lucas is just what's the like Jewish guy with the wings in episode one? Uh that's really George Lucas like inside.
Oh man, his name. Hold
I forget
on.
his name. Watto.
Watto.
Yeah, Watto. George Lucas isn't real. It's just Watto inside of a human shell.
All right. Uh we've we've reached the lowest point in this
I think
episode, I hope.
I mean I think that was great. I think that was a great riff.
the The Princess Bride, the music. Any thoughts on the music, Shane?
Uh, Not really, to be honest. It kind of just sounded like fairly standard uh fantasy, medieval, romantic comedy music, I guess. I
Yeah,
don't know.
I feel like there was one part when he's trying to knock down a door where the music was uh in tune, I guess, with his knocking on the door. Uh and I thought that was pretty cool. And it made me wonder, like the whole movie, this is like towards the end of the movie. The whole movie, I really did not notice the music too much. But then I was like, huh, wait, was the music in this good? But it was really just that one moment where I really noticed anything. So I wasn't really
Hmm.
sure. I'm like, I don't know, the music was probably fine, but that part stuck out to me. But I wasn't sure if
Hmm.
maybe if it was actually good or not.
I
But
don't know. I think it was like it wasn't anything like amazing, but also I don't know. It's kind of a I don't know. It's kind of big music, when there's action sequences, it's kind of big and, you know, I don't know. It didn't really stand out to me as anything like remarkable.
yeah,
But yeah, I also looked it up. Apparently, they
this is
were
gonna be the Iliad.
the
Bro's not even gonna be
Iliad,
talking about the
the
Princess
the
Bride.
Iliad was finished first, and the Odyssey was written shortly after. But they were both, passed down by word of mouth through singers for many years in the, 8th century BC. So there you go. But also, isn't the Iliad shorter than the Odyssey?
I don't know. I
So,
kind of, for some reason, I thought they were the same number of books, but I don't know what that translates to
well,
in.
if the Iliad is shorter, maybe they started writing at the same time and then they just one got finished first.
It's, you know what, Shane? Anything's possible.
Hey, I don't know why I thought the Iliad. Yeah, I have no idea.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Well, can't wait for Christopher Nolan's The Iliad.
oh, you know what? That's interesting. They're both 24 books.
Yeah, I thought they were the same.
Do you know? All right, how many lines are in the Iliad?
I I'm gonna guess they're 20. It's probably something like it's just under 30,000, I would guess.
Oh, 15,693. How do you not know that, man?
Oh, you know what? Put them together, and I'm probably pretty close.
There you go. There you go. All right. Well, that's our little Iliad and Odyssey tangent. Glad I could bring something to the show today.
Um, yeah. So I don't know. I feel like the main story here for me was really the revenge story, and the story of Wesley. Wesley was like kind of, I mean, I thought it was fine, but I did think it felt just kind of secondary to me. But I do know that that's supposed to be the main thing. And I just didn't really, I mean, I thought there's like funny moments. There's like a moment when uh what's his face says, be careful, people in masks cannot be trusted towards the beginning when he's still wearing a mask and stuff. And I thought
Hmm.
that was funny. And there's some like funny bits with him, but I don't know. For the most part, I was definitely more in it for Fezzik and Inoya Montiago. Nope. Montiago. Ah, fuck it.
Inigo Montoya.
Montoya. Yes. Noya. Nope. You know what? That guy.
Yeah,
um
I get it. Yeah, that makes sense. I agree. That was like more effective for me. I'm gonna. These are a couple nitpicks. There was apparently a lot of hair gel in this time. Carrie Elways, his hair, very gelled, very perfect in many scenes. I don't know if he's going off and he's doing it himself. Does he have a makeup person that's like off camera? Where is this time traveling hair gel? When was hair gel invented? I don't know. Maybe we should look it up and have another tangent. But
Magic. It's magic, man.
yeah, I guess so. And also his mustache, not the greatest, honestly, weak mustache. These are the things I was paying attention to while I was watching the movie.
Yeah, I feel like you're probably right. I don't know if I cared, but yeah.
Well,
I'm not
yeah,
gonna argue with that. Bad mustache.
it was
Um
just a little bit like it was like they were like trying to get it perfect and they trimmed a little too much and then they're like, well, ah man, we have to trim a little more. And then it was just like, dude, I don't know. It just wasn't the strongest mustache.
yeah. No, definitely not. And I feel like the mustache was just so that you were not supposed to recognize him maybe right away with the mask on, right?
Sure.
But
That was also a nitpick of like, does she really not recognize that it's this guy? But
yeah. Also, they get he's very mad for like a brief moment, and then he's like, yeah, whatever.
oh, like when he's like, I'm gonna punch you or something. I forget what the context
Yeah, well,
was.
because she's like or I don't know, he's just mad. He's like, oh, you moved on, how fast you moved on from when your fiance got killed in the sea
Right, right.
by
Did you
robbers.
even wait
A
a
week,
week or
yeah.
something? Yeah.
And uh and then and then when she knows it's him or something, it's all better again. And I was like, yeah, all right, well, I
Hmm.
guess.
Oh yeah, funny. I have a funny thing that I liked when they both roll down the mountain, and there's very funny sound effects, and they're
That
kind
was
of
funny.
both going like ah ah. That was pretty funny.
Also, I liked that one because I wrote this down because she pushes him down, not knowing who it is. And then
Right,
he says, as you wish, as he's falling, and
right.
there's the funny sound effects. And then she just jumps down.
Yeah, rolls after him. Yeah, that
Yeah,
was funny.
that was good. I liked that one quite a bit. That was uh uh there's oh, you know what? There's one line also. I'm trying to look at my notes of things that I thought were pretty funny. There's one line when during the interludes, when you have the kid talking, where the grandpa says, yes, yes, you're very smart. Now shut up. And he just keeps going with the
Oh.
story. And I was like, yeah, that's pretty much what I want to happen here.
Yeah.
But it was funny though.
Yeah, I mean, this movie's like 99 minutes. If they just cut out the kid and the grandfather, then it probably would have been right at the Ryan 90-minute mark.
If movies aimed for 90 minutes more often, they'd be better. Not that every movie should be 90 minutes, but aim closer.
Mm. Yeah, this one's pretty close. Yeah, I mean, the guy's name is Humperdinck. Funny. Um, the rat was like practical effects, kind of
That was
a
cool.
kind of a laughably bad fight, but I don't know if that was is it supposed to be intentional or not.
Also, when Fesnick is like on the wheelbarrow, so he's really big, and they light him on fire. They light his coat on fire. The shots when it's not like right up to his face, it's very clearly just like a mannequin in a giant cloak on fire. But then when it's on his face,
Yeah.
so much to the point where I was wondering at first if it was actually him in the movie, if it was actually him up there, or if he was behind talking or something. And then I realized, yeah, it was him, but they didn't want to light him on fire. And
Yeah. But yeah, it's pretty crazy how obvious it is that it does not match at all the face of
yeah,
the thing that gets lit on fire.
yeah. But I felt like that, even though it's a little confusing to me, I did find that to be just a little charming, you know.
Hmm.
But it did confuse me for a second. I was like, wait a second, what the hell's going on?
Yeah. That's that was I also noticed that. Um I will say like in some ways this movie is actually kind of relevant today in that there's talk about masks, there's torture, and there are multiple attempts at a false flag attack. So in some ways this movie is aged so well.
Go on.
Well, I don't know. Those are still things that we deal with. I don't know.
That's funny. Yeah, the mask. I guess at the beginning, the mask.
It's just he makes a comment like
Yeah,
I think he says like you'll be wearing a mask one day or something like that. Maybe to Inigo Montoya, like when they have their fight, something like that. And then the torture. Obviously, torture not good, but there's torture in the movie. And yeah, false flag attacks. Yeah. Because
yeah,
that's them. They're trying to kill the princess in order to start a war. So
yeah.
Humperdinck, George W. Humperdinck is really not a good guy.
The
He's
false flags. I feel like yeah, that's a
Benjamin Netanyahu Humperdinck.
this guy. All right. Yeah, that's. I think that is actually an interesting observation. I feel like the mask. I feel like might be a little weak, but
Yeah, that was honestly more of a joke than anything else. I'm not actually saying that as a serious like thing that it's actually relevant today.
yeah,
Just that, yeah, not an actual point.
yeah.
Just
Um,
I don't honestly the movie kind of like I just watched it and I was like it didn't really do much for me. So I gotta have something to say.
Yeah, yeah, I
Gotta
get
try
you.
to say something funny, you know?
I get you. Yeah. The speaking of the torture though, the the fact that they have to go they like go into a tree for the torture
Right. Yeah.
is bizarre. And then when he's getting his 50 years sucked out and he's just uh, uh his cries are heard throughout like the whole land and everyone hears him and stuff. And that's how the other folks find him.
Yeah.
I thought was both of those elements, the behind the tree thing and that it's just this like practical effect like gate door thing that they have in a tree or something. And also the fact that his cries are heard everywhere. I thought those were both pretty clever. I liked that. Honestly,
Hmm.
anytime you have a fun little practical thing in the movie, that and the rat and the guy getting lit on fire, I'm in.
Hmm.
I'm in.
Yeah, yeah. There are definitely some like fun inspired ideas here, like the going in the tree and stuff like that. Uh yeah, I don't know. I think it's just the filmmaking is very standard to me, like the cinematography, the just everything about it just felt very run of the mill, nothing special to it to me. So it kind of just never hooked me.
Interesting. That's funny. I feel like the I would say I feel pretty different on that aspect because I did really like the landscapes. I liked kind of the wide shots and stuff at times. Um and I liked, you know, story wise, I like that you kind of had this like multi-layered narrative, not with the kid and the grandpa thing, but with, all the other stuff going on where if you watch this and you're like, I really like the romance. Great. But if you watch it and you're like, I really like the revenge story. Like awesome. So I feel like there was some for me watching this, I definitely felt like I appreciated some of the cool uh filmmaking aspects that went into it, but yeah, I mean, I in some aspects, like I said with the music, I feel like I noticed one time where I was like, that was cool, but for the most part I kind of was like, I don't know. But
Hmm.
yeah, I don't know. I did feel like the fantasy world felt really cool, so I felt like that was another point to it. But yeah, I mean, I guess it
Gotcha.
just didn't do it for you.
Yeah, yeah, and that was kind of my first experience with it too, where it was like I think I watched it in college and I was like, oh, this is like everyone loves this movie. And then I watched it, I was kind of like, didn't really do much for me. And then 10 years passed and I was like, this is a classic. Everyone loves this movie. Maybe I'll like it this time. And then I was like, still didn't really do it for me. So,
Still nothing. Wow. Yeah, I definitely feel like I would say I probably like this a little bit less than maybe the average or maybe like right around the average, but it's mostly, again, it's not really for the romance. I don't know if I really care about
yeah,
Wesley and stuff, but
right. And I think like the beginning of the movie, it just starts with the kid and the grandfather and then the romance. And that's how we start. And like, so it kind of just never got me with those aspects. And then, yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'm just being a little harsh, but that's just my experience with the movie. I kind of just never really got into it. I did like
yeah.
Inigo Montoya. I will say, Andre the Giant, great physical presence as his character. Sometimes quite hard to hear what he's saying. But yeah, that's just kind of the way he
Yeah.
spoke, I guess. Yeah. He also has kind of an accent. I forget what country he's from, but he has, that accent, the super deep voice, and sometimes it was hard to tell what he was saying.
Yeah. Yeah. I think the for me, I feel like going back into this, it's been I think it's been a
Oh,
little bit longer.
he's from France.
Oh.
Yeah. I thought he was from some more random country, but I guess he's just from France.
um I guess, it's been a little bit longer for me going back into this. Uh, and I think I had a generally more positive experience with it the first time, obviously, where I remembered thinking things were funny and stuff like that, looking back on it. And part of it for me also going through it, uh, I really appreciated some of the moments that I feel like have just lived on, right? Like uh, the drink swapping thing and the inconceivable and all this stuff that I feel like has just lived on. I feel like I was excited to see those things again, and and that really carried me through a little bit. But yeah, overall, I think this time around, I would say I had a good enough time. I mean, I think um I liked, again, I feel like I really liked the landscapes. That's like honestly one of the biggest things that took me
Hmm.
really into the movie was the shots. I liked the shots. I thought they looked great. But
Gotcha.
that
Yeah,
was my
yeah.
main. I don't know. I was like, honestly, one of my biggest notes, my most recurring notes here. It's just I like that landscape, and so I don't know. Call me Bob Ross because I really like the landscapes.
Yeah, there you go. That's good. Well, I'm glad you liked it. I'm glad clearly I'm the outlier here. And I will say another movie that is a classic, highly quoted movie that I never really loved is Monty Python and the Holy Grail. So that's another movie where I kind of like watched it and I was like, I don't know, like it was all right. And it just didn't, but that has also so many moments that are like, culturally,
Yeah,
stuck around in the culture and stuff. And but I kind of just, I don't know, don't really love them. So maybe that's just, I think both of them are
interesting.
kind of like silliness first before like anything else. And so if you're not on the same wavelength, sometimes that'll happen with me with some comedies. Like I like The Naked Gun, don't love Airplane. Maybe I might have to rewatch Airplane to be honest. It's been a long time. But like sometimes with comedy, it's just like if you're not on the same wavelength, it can just kind of fall flat.
Yeah, that makes sense, and I think that makes a lot of sense because also a lot of this that I did really like was the comedy and those moments. So, and some of the goofiness. Like um, Nigo Montoya was like stabbed a bunch of times and was still at it. And I liked the
I,
goofiness of that fight and all that stuff.
yeah,
Uh,
I feel like it was very silly, but then it was also kind of trying to take the story very seriously also at some times. So I feel like it was a little bit of a weird balance. Um, so yeah.
Yeah, I can see that. But that makes sense too, where you didn't really like Monty Python and the Holy Grail. Um, I feel like this movie and Monty Python and the Holy Grail have a lot of overlapping kind of sense of humor and even just like sort of aesthetics and stuff that um,
Yeah.
you know.
The aesthetics are it's kind of a, medieval times comedy, silly comedy, but I feel like Monty Python is more just silly and like there's almost no story to that movie. And then this one is trying to balance like a real story and the silliness. But yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. But bummer that you didn't like it again.
That's all right. Hey,
That
it
happens.
happens. We had to pick a wedding movie. We could have watched friggin' 27 Jump. Then who knows if I would have liked that. So
True. Yeah, I mean, I feel like there's the wedding movie options, like we said at the beginning, kind of slim picking. Even this, in terms of this, is not the most wedding of a
yeah,
movie. Like,
we didn't even mention the wedding scene and the guy who has a lisp and he says marriage and
yeah,
which is also that is kind of just a bit from History of the World Part One, the Mel Brooks movie, where I forget. I think he's like the Emperor of Rome and he like has a lisp and that's just the whole joke is that he has a lisp. And I was like, oh, that's kind of the same joke. Um, and I think History of the World Part One came out before this, but maybe I'm wrong about that. I don't know. I was wrong about the Iliad and the Odyssey, so who knows right now? I'm
yeah,
off my game.
yeah. That's right. I mean, those, in fairness, much older. So, you know,
That's
but
true.
yeah, the
It
the
was History of the World Part One came out in 81.
there you go.
So
Wow.
yeah. But
Um,
yeah, that scene and then yeah, they don't say I do, so it's not like official and obviously she doesn't consent to the marriage, all that stuff. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. How'd you feel about the wedding aspect of it?
yeah, it's a weird movie to pick for a wedding movie. I feel the I feel like I remember again. I like as a kid, I mostly remember the jokes and some of the funnier moments and stuff like that. Um, Going back into it this time, thinking of this, in the beginning they reference Wesley and Buttercup getting married, but that doesn't happen obviously at the beginning because he dies at sea and whatever. And then the marriage that actually happens in the movie, yeah, it's like a forced marriage, which not chill. So
Yeah.
Yeah, tough movie to pick for the wedding movie.
Yeah.
I
It's
mean,
kind of more for the romance, I guess, aspect, right?
yeah, yeah. There is, I mean, again, though, I feel like I didn't really connect too much with the romance
Right.
going on here,
I
but
I
yeah,
think I think if we didn't already cover The Hangover like last year or whatever that was, I forget what the topic was that we.
that was drinking game movies. Yeah,
Oh yeah, yeah,
we
yeah.
we got drunk during that episode too.
No,
Yeah, we were drink. Well, we didn't get drunk,
no.
drunk, but we were drinking during the episode.
Maybe you were secretly. I don't know if I.
No,
No,
we were at your house.
maybe you were sloshed
We
during
were at
that.
your house. We were drinking, and we were recording The Hangover and Rocky Horror Picture.
That does sound right. Yeah, yeah, that was definitely the topic. Um, but yeah, like that would. I feel like that would have been a good pick for wedding movie.
Yeah, I think
Two weddings in the movie, two for the price of one.
two. Wait. Oh, that's
Two.
true. That's true. That's
Mm-hmm.
wow. That's a good point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean that's at the end it's a lot more wholesome. Here, I mean, you have a wholesome ending with everything working out at the end, which is nice. But yeah, the wedding itself in this movie, it's not very wholesome. So
No.
not cool.
Yeah,
Um,
that dang Humperdinck. Shh.
yeah.
You think
Luckily,
by his name, you'd think he was just a stand-up guy. I mean, that's not. It's a totally
yeah,
normal name.
yeah, yeah. Humperdinck. I mean, I the only people I've ever known named Humperdinck are really great people. So,
Yeah, I have a lot
um,
of Humperdinck friends.
luckily, I'm not a Humperdinck, so my wedding will be much nicer than this one.
Yeah, good. I think a Humperdinck would be arrested these
Yeah,
days.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, all right. Cool. I don't know that I have that much else to say about The Princess Bride.
yeah. Me
Good
neither. I
episode.
mean, that's I think again, there's a lot of quotable moments in this movie that I feel like, although this is an interesting thing because I feel like they've lived on, but did they really live on to when we were like kids and in high school and stuff, or do people still like know, like, is this
Mm,
movie still in the zeitgeist? Because I'm saying that and I'm realizing,
I don't know that it is for like people younger than us.
yeah, like the students that I teach are certainly not referencing this movie,
No, no. I
um
don't think it's survived that long.
yeah, I wonder why. I feel like, I mean, I think obviously there's some amount of just like humor shift and like cultural shift that happens where like nowadays kids are referencing uh also,
Minions.
yeah, minions and stuff like that, and to a greater extent shorter form content where they're referencing like YouTube videos and TikToks as opposed to movies, or
Right.
even like sound bits. Like that's like they're not even going to reference videos; they're just going to reference like sounds. But
Right. Right. Yeah, yeah. And then if you are watching like something and it's where the sound came from, people are like, "Whoa, that's where that's that that sound, that meme sound came from."
yeah,
Yeah. Definitely the times have changed in that way, but yeah, this one hasn't lived on quite as I don't know. I feel like it's definitely like a Gen X and like millennial classic more than like Gen Z.
yeah, yeah, and I feel like it probably won't. I think as Gen Z grows up, I don't know if this will really be one uh that they appreciate. I feel like where Monty Python and the Holy Grail is kind of similar and doesn't have as much like complexity to plot and stuff, they might just appreciate that more, where it's like it's just all around, it's just like going at trying to be funny the whole time. Because like you said, where this does have like kind of that imbalance of trying to do two different things. um I don't know, maybe i'm
Yeah.
i'm just yapping at this point. I don't really know how
No.
they feel
I
about these things, but
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. I don't know. I feel like kids would probably just think it's probably old,
yeah,
to be
yeah,
honest.
that's a bummer.
Um, but yeah, I mean, the 80s now, when we were growing up, like a kid, like a 10-year-old kid now, the 80s to them would be like the 60s to us.
Yeah, that's true.
And that's like even, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
Uh,
there's a lot of people too that like won't even watch a movie that came out before they were born.
right,
Like that's
right.
a barrier for people. Which
That would be strange. That's you're missing out on a lot of good movies.
yeah, I mean, probably most of the best movies ever made.
Yeah, that person they just need to watch like Pulp Fiction or something. depending on how old that person
Yeah,
is.
maybe not
Well,
a
but that's what I'm saying because
yeah.
that's just right. Like, at least we're both born in '97, so you could just be like, "Well, this was 3 years before you were born," and then they'd be like, "Okay, that was good." And then you're like, "Well, maybe we watch Goodfellas or something like that."
Yeah.
You slowly push back, show them some accessible stuff, some Ferris Bueller, maybe. There you go,
Yeah,
something like
first, yeah.
that. So, and then work your way back, and then eventually, next thing you know, you're watching Seventh Seal, you're watching friggin' Buster Keaton. That was I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, but yeah, I think that this movie, I think it has such a lasting legacy to these generations. And that's part of why, we'll get into the rating recap, but the rating recap is pretty high for this movie, right? I think because, yeah, I think the generations of people that are on Letterboxd and the generation that used IMDb and that is still active on IMDb and stuff, I think is kind of skewed towards when this movie was so culturally relevant, right? And obviously, I think it's kind of fallen out of favor a little bit in terms of cultural relevancy. I'm not sure if you know, again, I don't really know what that all means. I don't know if
I
kids, if they watch it, they would like it or not. But
I think maybe more than anything, just movie comedies are not as popular like in the past 10 years to where like the 2000s we had like big like you had Jim Carrey, you had Will Ferrell, we had big comedy stars. There's the Judd Apatow movies. Like comedies were like a big part of going to the movies, even like stuff like Borat, The Hangover. Like those are big. Like The Hangover was one of the biggest movies of the year that year, I'd assume, and like everyone was quoting it, everyone was talking about it, and then kind of like superhero movies took over, and now with I feel like comedy is more people think of it as something for like TV or the internet. You get it in shorts, you get it on
right,
TV shows, and maybe hopefully that'll things come in cycles, and hopefully comedies will come back and in theaters and still be big because I think there is something very fun about a theatrical comedy experience. But at least for right now, I feel like it's a little bit of an ebb, a down period, a valley for comedies and movies as far as like just pop culture and like widespread people caring about it. I don't know.
yeah. I mean, I think that's an interesting point, and I think we kind of even hit a little bit on that when we covered parodies. We talked about the Naked Gun, the new Naked Gun with Liam Neeson,
Yeah.
and to that point, right? I mean, Hundreds of Beavers when that came out, that was like an indie comedy, right? And that kind of made some waves online and stuff, but certainly not as mass market as obviously like the Naked Gun or even the Invite that kind of more recently came out. Olivia Wilde's new movie is doing really well, but it's a
Yeah.
much more niche, right? I mean, it's
Yeah.
not, and those are three very different comedies too. I mean, um, and those are like the first three I can think of that are at all recent. I mean, so
Hmm.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah. And none of those are really like big hits. Like The Invite is a very modest
yeah,
movie, especially with like The Odyssey being out and stuff like that.
yeah.
Um, and yeah, I think part of it too is like maybe Marvel sort of making their movies all jokey in that like Marvel type of way. So then eating into that comedic like tone or something. I don't know. But
Yeah, you might as well just watch uh Spider-Man and you get the comedy and the action and the superhero and stuff, I guess, I mean,
yeah. I will say, if people like Wallace Shawn, I'm going to recommend another podcast. This one was short. This was like under an hour episode. This was a short episode for us. But the Blank Check podcast, they have an episode on a movie called A Master Builder. And in theory, they're going to spoil the movie. But I don't know that anyone needs to watch A Master Builder. They kind of talk about how it's really quite poor throughout. And while it's Wallace Shawn, it's uh uh it's based on a play, but it's written by Wallace Shawn, starring Wallace Shawn. And if you're looking for a funny podcast to listen to, I would recommend that one. That's like I don't go back to listening to podcasts multiple times, but I actually have listened to that one multiple times, and it just cracks me up.
interesting.
Yeah,
Cool. Yeah, that's funny.
yeah. So there you go. I would if anyone watched The Princess Bride and liked Wallace Shawn, I think that's funny. Not that Wallace Shawn's in the podcast, but it's about his his movie.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, I don't know. We don't have Rex for this episode. I don't know. I just thought of it. I was thinking of funny things, at one point in the movie he goes, "Come in," and that's
Yeah.
pretty funny.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean, kind of unintentionally funny, but
Nice. Yeah. Well, I don't know. I mean, we could do our ratings real quick, give the rating
oh
recap
yeah,
and see where we're at. But yeah, this is I mean it's kind of a tough one because even though I did quite like the movie, I don't know if I think a lot of what I would want to say is like just quotes and things from the movie that have lived on and stuff. And like I don't really,
yeah. I do
it's
think comedies are like the hardest to talk about on a podcast because so much of it is just the experience and well, what makes it funny, you know?
yeah, definitely. And I think yeah, I don't know. So this was a tougher one to even take notes on because I'm writing down jokes and then I'm sitting here and I'm like, I'm not gonna read this joke out loud.
Yeah.
But anyways, well, I did quite like it. I particularly, like I already said, I liked the landscapes. I've said that so
He
many times.
loved the landscapes, I'll tell you what. This
And
guy, wait till oh yeah, you've seen Barry Lyndon.
yeah, oh yeah, oh my god,
That's got some landscapes.
oh yeah, that movie. Well, now okay, now I feel like this movie's put to shame already. But
Yeah, but that's a tough comparison.
yeah, yeah, no, this movie I think it looked really nice. I really liked the revenge story that's going on. I found the world pretty immersive. So, anyways, I'm giving it 4 stars. I thought, you know, not not quite uh as fully well rounded as I maybe was hoping, but I did quite like it. So
Nice. I'm glad you liked it. Sorry to be Debbie Downer. I gave it 2.5 stars. Thought it was okay. Very kind of middle of the road for me. Uh, yeah. Uh, yeah.
yeah,
I
that's
think
all
I
right.
explained my thoughts pretty well.
Yeah, that's all
Kind of.
right.
Hopefully people don't get super pissed off. I feel like some people really love this movie, you know?
No, I mean,
It
and I'm
is
kind
kind
of
of a cult classic.
it is definitely a classic, right? I'm curious to if people you guys don't have to like our opinion or really Shane's opinion, but let it. But I am
Maybe some people feel heard and they say, you know what? The Princess Bride is a little bit overrated.
true, and but yeah, let us know down in the comments, right? What were your favorite moments if you really like the movie, right? Because like I said, I don't want to just sit here and talk about my favorite moments in the movie, but they are pretty. There's some really pretty funny moments. Or what did you not like about it? Are you on Shane's side here? Because it sounds like I'm sure there are people out there, but the rating recap is pretty high for this movie. So maybe not all that many people, Shane. Sorry.
We're out there. We exist. There are
There are
dozens of
dozens of
us.
us. But it has a 4.1 out of 5 on Letterboxd, a 93% critic score, and a 94% audience score on Rotten Tomatoes, and an 8 out of 10 on IMDb. Uh, so that brings it to an average using our metrics of 8.7 out of 10, which is fairly high. That's certainly uh, in the higher range for us. Anything really over like 8.5, that's in the higher range for us. We don't cover all too many movies that hit uh, too much higher than that. I don't even know. I can look at our spreadsheet real quick. We don't have that many movies that have like that have hit
Not,
9.
yeah,
We
there's only a few that have been up in the nines.
Yeah. Oh my God. There's 4 now. Wow. There's Rear Window, Spirited Away, Project Hail Mary, and The Odyssey, which are both really recent, of course. Both hit 9. But we only have 4 that are higher than 9, and
Hmm.
above
Fuck.
8.5, there's maybe 20. It looks like about 20, 25 movies. So this is a pretty good rating. And I would say that I think I'm a little surprised. I did quite like it, but again, I don't think it's like as fully well rounded as that number might tell you. It's like right up there with some of those, like the Odyssey, uh, Rear Window, right, Spirited Away. But it was cool. So
Yeah. Cool. I'm glad you liked it. Hey, congratulations on your wedding, which when we're recording, it hasn't happened yet, but by the time it's out, it's already happened. Uh, yeah. Well,
Thanks.
yeah,
Yeah.
congrats.
Thank you. Yeah. Yeah. So when this comes out, I'll be out away on my honeymoon. The wedding will have just happened. Um, and we'll be recording our next one as usual, but we can't tell
All
you what that
right.
is yet. Normally we get to announce
Yes.
what our next episode is, of course, but we don't know. We don't know what the topic is yet. We're
Yeah.
currently we haven't even picked our
Yeah,
uh
we're gonna
short movies, so
yeah,
short films.
last week's episode will have been the short films episode. So at the end of that episode, we'll pick our next topic. And so if you guys want to check that out, you can see at least what the topic is. And if you go to Letterboxd, you can mind your movies, all one word. In the bio, both of our individual profiles are linked. You can find our, at least on my page, it's like the one of my pinned lists is the Mind Your Movies list. And if you just scroll to the bottom, it'll be whatever's next. So if you need a sneak peek, then of next week's episode, that's where you can find it basically. So yeah, is there anything else to say, or should we just wrap it up?
I think that's really it. Excited to see what you guys think. So again, if you really like the movie, let us know why. What did you really like about it? What were
Yeah,
your favorite moments?
yes. If you're on YouTube, like and subscribe. We're on the podcast apps, Apple and Spotify and all those places. And like we said, we're on Letterboxd as well. We appreciate it. My name is not Inigo Montoya, but don't forget to mind your movies.